The next topic we're going to hop into is Mike Evans, and he won't get franchise tagged by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers due to his 2023 cap number. Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans is projected to be franchise tagged, or is projected that his franchise tag will be worth $28.4 million instead of the regular $21.6 million, meaning he's not expected to get the franchise tag. Now, what Schefter is referring to here is the 120% escalation to the franchise tag, depending on what your contract was the year you're coming off of. And since Mike Evans had such a high cap number this past year, they're saying that he is already within the threshold that would have made him a higher paid player, or basically his salary would go down on the franchise tag. It's kind of goofy. But because of that, he gets 120% of that value, which winds up being that $28.4 million, which is a monster number for, I think, anyone to hit. As far as his grades, Mike Evans has been absolutely electric in terms of, 1,000-yard receptions for 10 straight years. This guy's going to cakewalk into the Hall of Fame. This past year had 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns with Baker Mayfield throwing him the ball. So if you think he might be able to do just as good, maybe a little bit better with Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson on the other side of him, at 6'5", Mike Evans is hands down the number one wide receiver I would love to be able to bring into the New York Jets. The size profile is absolutely enormous, and the guy's talented. Guy's talented as all hell. Now, as far as his contract demands go, this coming by way of his agent, Evans could command around $25 million annually. Hill is averaging $30 million. Davante Adams, who is in the same draft class as Evans in 2014, is averaging $28 million, while Cooper Kupp is making $26.7 million a year. Cooper Kupp's deal was initially what Evans and his agent, Derek Gilmore, were striving to match prior to the start of the regular season. Evans and general manager Jason Licht both indicated they'd like the receiver to stay in Tampa. It would mean everything for the franchise, ownership, all of us, Licht told ESPN of Evans spending his entire career with the Bucs. Mike and I, our relationship is still the same and has never changed, and we've got a mutual understanding of when we're going to begin talking. So obviously they were talking throughout the summer and the offseason, trying to figure out if they can get this contract off the ground and make them, settle everything down. Once the season started, Mike Evans was like, hey, I'm not talking contract anymore. We're going to figure this out in the offseason. Now it's going to get to a point where I think Mike Evans is at least going to test the open market here. And as far as contract demands go, he was talking about getting the Cooper Kupp deal. That's a 3-year, $80 million contract, which is like not out of the realm of possibility considering what some of these other players are getting paid. Davante Adams, who a lot of Jet fans want, is currently getting a massive contract by the Vegas Raiders. And Tyreek Hill, who's probably the best wide receiver in the game, getting $30 million. Mike Evans isn't that far behind either, or arguably just a different type of receiver than both those guys, and provides just as much upside given our red zone woes and his big frame that you could have. As far as cap space, these are the top teams that are looking, top teams in terms of salary cap allocation and what they're able to spend this offseason. Now, the Jets sitting pretty low on this list. I didn't include the ones below us because I would figure, probably the Jets are about as far as you'd go down that list. Lots of teams that kind of pop up here. Now, as far as teams I could see going after Mike Evans, the first one, look, I'll say our Jets, because we have a very tight window in terms of winning. Aaron Rodgers, 2 years, probably 3 years at max is what you'd be looking to sign Mike Evans. I would love that. You could talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because obviously Mike Evans wants to potentially end his career in Tampa Bay. His kids are going to school down there. I think it would make a lot of sense. Tampa Bay obviously wants him back as well. You could look at the Carolina Panthers, who are a division rival for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, need a number one wide receiver but alongside Bryce Young. Would they be willing to overpay dramatically to help develop a pick that may not look so good right now because the owner wants to make sure it all works out after they reportedly passed on C.J. Stroud this past year for what the coaching staff, because the coaching staff wanted C.J. Stroud, owner wanted Bryce Young. Could they stir up a bunch of money there? They got a ton of salary cap space. Then you got the Kansas City Chiefs. This is an interesting one because they're clearly in need of a wide receiver one, and this would probably be his best shot along with the Jets at getting a Super Bowl if I had to think of one, just because their defense is so elite. But does it look the same after Chris Jones? Do they even have the money to bring in someone like Mike Evans and still maintain a Super Bowl caliber roster? I think that's going to be a little tough to ask. The next one you could talk about is the Chicago Bears. The Bears are rumored to want Marvin Harrison Jr. at the top of the draft, looking to add someone opposite DJ Moore. And they've got a ton of cap space to be able to facilitate this. This would be a really wild signing, especially if they wind up getting someone like Caleb Williams at the top of the draft. You trade away Justin Fields. Now maybe number 9 doesn't become a Rome Odunze or a Malik Neighbors, like a lot of people are sort of projecting the Bears to make that selection at number 9. Maybe it becomes an offensive lineman to help protect their quarterback that they just took at number 1 overall because they've solved wide receiver outside of that. Or the Bears become a hot trade down commodity if they want to move out at number 9 for a team that wants to leapfrog the Jets for an offensive tackle, or maybe leapfrog the Vikings or the Broncos or the Raiders, who might be looking for a quarterback at picks number 11, 12, and 13. And it might not even be, that they wouldn't trade down with the Jets. It just might be that the Bears, with all their draft capital they have, might be more willing to move down than the Jets would be on possibly missing, a top tackle target for us. And then the last team I would take a look at is the Houston Texans. They have some good wide receivers already, but getting a bona fide number 1 wide receiver in a non-income tax state on a massive contract when you have a ton of money and a rookie quarterback coming off offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, this would be a really interesting spot. And the pathway to the playoffs is not incredibly daunting. The Colts are an interesting team with a little bit of turmoil with the switch in head coach. You have the Jaguars, who are going to try and, bring back Josh Allen, bring back Calvin Ridley. They're going to lose some pieces, but I don't think you're necessarily sweating too hard over them after you just, won the division this past year. And then you have the Indianapolis Colts, who have a quarterback coming off of a season-ending injury. So this is really an interesting situation for Mike Evans. He could pick any one of these teams. Is he going to go for a team that maybe doesn't have the money to pay him right now? Or maybe it would be a team that would be more willing to push money into the future, like the Jets or the Chiefs? Does he want to go with a high upside team like the Texans or the Bears? Or does he want to go for the all-out money and stay in Tampa Bay or go to Carolina? I think either one of those or any one of these 6 teams are really the ones that I've kind of penciled in as the teams to keep an eye on. You could also keep an eye on Washington maybe as well if they're taking a quarterback at the top of their draft. They got, I think, the most amount of salary cap space of any team. So that would be an interesting option potentially as well. Now, as far as Mike Evans, what does he think on the situation?
I would love to be back. I love Tampa Bay. Been here my whole career. The city has been great to me. The franchise has been unbelievable to me and my family, and I love this place. So we'll see.
Todd, do you cringe at all or allow yourself to even think of Mike Evans playing in another team's jersey?
I don't even think about it. I don't like to be asked about it. I don't want to know about it, and I hope the hell that does not happen.
So clearly, Mike Evans has an affinity for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's taken pay cuts in the past. Todd Bowles does not want to lose him. He prays to God that does not happen. Obviously, it's the GM that winds up making all those decisions. But you would have to think, with everything that has gone on with Mike Evans throughout the course of his career, where he stands at this point in his career, does he want to uproot his family? Does he want to leave the city that's treated him so well, that he's won a Super Bowl in? I get the feeling Mike Evans probably ends up back at Tampa Bay on a really nice deal, and they're going to stretch this money out pretty far to make it work for their guys. So I think Mike Evans probably not coming to the New York Jets. But guys, let me know, how much would you be willing for the New York Jets? How much would you be willing for the New York Jets to pay Mike Evans? How do you think it's possible that he ends up here? Do you think he ends up on another team? Let me know in the comments section down below. The final Thank you guys so much for hitting the like and subscribe button on these videos. It goes a long way towards growing the channel. And then occasionally I get sponsors like this. So if you want to help support the sponsor of the channel, or maybe just get yourself some cool gear or some good discounts, you can click the link in the description down below. Today's sponsor, 𝐿 is going to give you 25% off your order using promo code JetsTalk. Link in the description down below. They've got gummies, THC syrup, THC seltzers. I just discovered these things. They are incredible. As someone who has been trying to cut down a little bit of their alcohol consumption and not, maybe feel as crummy the next day, this has been a godsend for me. Keep me nice and calm, cool, and collected, especially with all the hurdles that our Jets throw our way and all the headaches that we got to deal with as fans. So if you guys want to help support the channel, maybe get yourself a little bit of a discount as well. Support the sponsors of the channel, 𝐀𝐟𝐟𝐢𝐥𝐢𝐚. Thank you so much for watching the show.